Radical.
Hello, what is happening to everybody? This is Radical Rick, feeling the best I have since last year. Meaning, well, right before New Year's when I got sick. In Show Off Saturdays, later on today, I'm going to be showing off one thing that got me back to feeling great. So it's going to be kind of another product review, but this one, it's going to be on the show off table, all right? Because it's that special and important. Right now, though, I want to spend a couple of minutes talking about the Golden State Warriors and how huge of a fucking dumpster fire they have become right now. They are currently, I think, 2 games behind 500. The only bigger dumpster fire of a prominent team would be the Lakers, who are now 2-9 in their last 11 games. And LeBron even admitted that they kind of suck right now. But they are the in-season tournament champions. Yeah. There's a lot of problems the Warriors have. A lot of decisions, hard decisions they got to make. Specifically, we talked about Draymond Green and how he just can't seem to stay on the court because he's too busy kicking and punching and choking people the fuck out. But I'm not going to have a side upload talking about that, but apparently after 21 days, Draymond's getting close to ready to being okay. Isn't that crazy? What kind of therapy do they have? Do they have Dr. Phil there at the NBA helping him through his issues? So place your bets on how long it takes for him to get a technical and to basically knock somebody the fuck out again. I don't buy it, right? Meanwhile, he was hanging out with LeBron James while he was, getting healed and whatnot. So maybe that's a possibility. Maybe the Lakers want to trade for Draymond. I don't know. But back to the Warriors. So they got tough decisions to make. For them. For me, it would be an easy decision. If I were going in there as a new GM or a new coach, I wouldn't have these old relationships. I would be able to make the quick decisions. Because I would basically have a team meeting and say, listen, no one's job is safe here. No one's starting spot is safe here. We are here as a business to win the championship this year. We have stiff competition, teams that we wouldn't even like thinking about earlier, like the Timberwolves, for instance, and the Thunder are now competitors. And we're currently out of play-in right now. So we gotta roar back. We gotta try lots of different lineups out. We gotta see what works. I'm gonna be taking notes, plus minuses. No one is safe, except Steph Curry. No one is safe. I wouldn't use the whispering part, but that's what I would say. Now, Kuminga recently came out. After what I saw, and what inspired this upload was the biggest 18-point drop, just collapse I've seen in years. I watched it. I saw them cooking the defending champion Denver Nuggets. I saw Golden State cooking them, man. Chef Curry was cooking them. Podenzka, the new rookie. Kuminga was playing great. Everything was going great. They was gonna win that game easily. But then the Nuggets came back. Under 7 minutes they had left, the Nuggets not only came back and tied the game, but there was an insane buzzer beater, a long 3 bank that you got to see from Nikola that just defies explanation. He even had a defender on him. And they won that game by 3. So that's like, what, a 4 to 21 point swing? How does that happen? Well, as simple as this. The Nuggets figured out that the Warriors were not going to play someone like Kuminga, who had been having success, who had drawn 4 fouls on Jamal Murray. He was an inside threat. But the Warriors, without Kuminga, they got Wiggins as maybe a slasher, but they don't have a lot of inside threat, no athleticism. Kuminga fixes that right there. He's improved greatly, but for some fucking reason, Steve Kerr decided not to play Kuminga any in the fourth quarter. In fact, after going 4 for 7 and completing a 3-point play, he immediately subbed him out. I think behind the scenes, what it is Kerr is out of touch, and he really doesn't want to push the rookies. He wants to stay with the aging core. Draymond, Clay, and Steph. And he figures, well, you know what? We're going to stick with them. This is my guys. Could be a lot of personal relationships behind the scenes also. I mean, I'm sure there is. It should be considered. I know this sounds crazy. It should be considered, if things don't improve, to actually fire Steve Kerr. Because Kuminga came out and basically said he's lost all faith in Steve Kerr. Now, how do you have a young, promising future superstar in Kuminga, and then you're not playing him in the fourth quarter? They don't have Draymond Green. They don't have Gary Payton. You need somebody in there that's going to be athletic and help defend against, I don't know, a much bigger team in the Denver Nuggets. So if I were the general manager, I would investigate, see if there's some beef between Kerr and Kuminga, because it's not a good basketball decision. If you're a basketball coach, you need to make good basketball decisions. But maybe Kerr is overrated, because you got to think about it. How hard is it to coach, especially when they had Kevin Durant, the Golden State Warriors, to coach Draymond, Clay, Steph, and Durant in their prime? I know they won a couple without Durant, but how difficult. That's got to be the easiest coaching job on earth. They also lost, I forget what his name, their defensive coach. You can definitely tell this is not the same championship team from 2022. So the tough decisions to make in their rotation is basically not tough. You have to, at the trade deadline, try to get rid of some dead weight, and then maybe one of the young promising players you can part with, not all of them. You can't part with Kuminga, Moody, and the Pods, but maybe Moody. I don't think you trade Kuminga. You do throwing a lot of draft picks, you go all in right now, because you figure you're not going to need to draft picks in the future, because you're focusing on making sure that you get Steph, who's still playing out of his mind great right now, a championship or two. You maximize what you have right now. Do you trade Clay? I mean, it's a conversation. I don't think they will trade Clay. Do you trade Draymond? I mean, you trade Draymond well before you trade Clay. You do. Because Clay's not out there like karate chopping people at least. You know, you have the conversation with Clay about maybe having him take a bench role. Then you push some people that are younger on your team. To me, it's not that difficult. It's business decisions. It is simple decisions you got to make. There are a lot of teams right now that would love to be in the position of the Golden State Warriors. They would love to be in the position that you have a deep roster, a bench that is great, one of the best benches in the league, and some young, promising future superstars. You just have to nurture them. How many teams would wish to be in a position where you have a great veteran like Steph Curry, and you could put a starting five together of, you know, Steph Curry, and then Kuminga, and then, you know, Gary Payton? Well, I mean, it's just like, it's hard to figure out like a perfect starting five between them, because there's so many great players. There's so many underrated players on that team. I don't think Clay's a starter anymore. I don't think Wiggins is a starter. I don't think they are. So I would consider maybe, let's say you get Draymond back. Draymond and Kuminga, and then Curry. And the weird thing, ironically, is I think their talent right now was not all in shooting. And that's weird to say from the Warriors. I think their underrated talent right now might be in playmaking. There's a lot of great passers on that bench, and defense. So you can literally have lineups out there of 3 and D, the threes mostly coming from Curry, and the D coming from all the other players. I know they've always not wanted to run that lineup, but you got options. I mean, hell, let's say you trade 3 or 4 players and some picks. Maybe you get back one solid shooter and a center. I think that's the big hole, gaping hole they have as a center. I know Draymond can play center, but a big body down low to bang with Jokic and some of the bigger players, because you'll need that in the playoffs. They have assets. They have options. They just have to make the right decisions. And they only have such of a window open to maximize Steph Curry. And if you're not a Warriors fan, you're like, hey, hell yeah, keep doing exactly what you're doing. Piss off your young superstar talent. Keep prioritizing Wiggins when he seems just not there. Keep putting in Clay there for 30, 40 minutes a game. So he can do whatever he's been doing lately. I know he's playing a little bit better, but you can't have superstars in there that are past their prime if you're trying to win, because other teams are not doing that. Other teams are not. It's time for the Golden State Warriors to wake up and realize their future needs to begin now. Their past, the legacy of their past, their, a dynasty, it's fading away. But maybe, just maybe, if they make the right moves, they can squeeze maybe one more championship out before it's all over.